Yeah,
So
I get it. Realtor standard time.
exactly. We get started and then we go from here. So, Abe Shreve, my man, my friend, my mentor, one of the guys who's brought more wisdoms in my life than a lot of the people out there. So you are the CEO of MAPS Business Coaching. I see that you have your sweatshirt on there, and your partner is this guy that some people might know. His name is Gary Keller. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to refer to him as the most powerful mustache in real estate.
All right, that's great. So your partner is pretty well known, but before that, you were an executive business coach, right, for MAPS Coaching, and
Yeah.
your focus was on top tier teams.
Well, that's what I found my way to that, through my coaching journey. But I think I was telling you before that what I love about coaching is I love to work with someone that's going to push themselves in advance. And so for me, it never really mattered how much a person was doing in production, as long as they were pushing and growing. And for me, that's when I've enjoyed coaching the most.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And before that, you were the vice president of sales and marketing for Destination Homes for a
Yeah.
couple of years there.
Yeah, I had the privilege of working with a guy named Brad Wilson. And much of what, if you've heard me say something intelligent, I'm channeling a few people. And one of those people that I channel frequently is Brad Wilson. I learned a lot of really great lessons from Brad. And I feel like he took me from a person that could talk about business
Right.
to a person that did it and understood it, which is quite a journey.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So, but you've walked the walk then. So not only have you coached, you've done it. You've sold the real estate. You've been in the real estate world.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have the scars and the therapy bills to prove it.
Awesome. All right. So Abe, I know this.
Kidding aside,
Yeah.
I have failed my way to where I am now, and which I think is important to point out, because especially in the world of coaching right now, there are so many, I call them talking heads. There's so many people out there that are talking as if they've always done it right and this is the only way to do it. And of course, we have a mentor in common that says we fail our way to success.
Right.
And I think if we don't talk about that, then we make it harder for people to understand how they can win, because they think that somehow they're not supposed to fail. And the opposite is true.
Right. No, absolutely. Right. Supposed to fail your way to success. So Abe, I know your proudest thing is you're the proud husband to Teresa, right? Who's a performer.
Yeah.
I know I've heard her sing. She does awesome. You're the father
greatest,
of four
greatest sales accomplishment.
Yeah. Right. You're the father of 4 beautiful children. You have 2 pretty good looking dogs as well, huh?
I do. Indian Ellie.
So fun fact for all you people that do not know Abe Shreve, and I know some of you on the call do, Abe is a mountain climber. And if you guys want to do yourself a favor and Google El Capitan in the Yosemite National Park, Abe has conquered that hill, or that cliff, or I should call it. You call it a cliff?
It's the largest unbroken cliff on the North American continent. It's 3,300 continuous vertical feet, 3 times the height of the Empire State Building.
So you've conquered that 3 times. I've seen some pictures of it. It's pretty impressive. And you failed 3 times. So
yes.
All right. So you're batting 500. Yeah. How has that shaped you, doing something like that? What is your motivation on that?
Well, it was a dream that I had when I very first started climbing when I was 21 years old. And it had just been, in the world of rock climbing, there is a thing called free climbing. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean you're climbing without equipment. That just simply means that you're doing all of the work yourself, and you're not using your gear to assist you.
Right.
And for the first time ever, when I very first started, 2 amazing things had happened. A person had free climbed all of El Cap, the most famous route called the Nose, and had done it in under 24 hours. And her name was Lynn Hill. And it would be 10 years before anyone, male, female, it'd be 10 years before anyone would repeat that. So when I first started climbing, there was this real buzz around this big rock. And so I'd always wanted to do it, and I'd always been scared of it, and so I I knew that I would not be satisfied in my life. If I get to the end and we're watching the video in heaven of our lives and mine doesn't have LCAP on it, I'll go get popcorn.
I've seen the pictures of you, Abe, and yes, you being scared of it is justified. It's pretty scary. So, all right, so let's pivot here, my man. You brought wisdom to so many, and you have coached so many of the top agents here. So, let's talk about what's going on in your world. Let's talk about what's going on in the business coaching world, and let's go, and like just kind of the strategies and the systems and the accountability that you put in place. But before we go into that, what I first want to start with you with, Abe, is you have one of the most positive mindsets I've ever been encountered, and you coached some of the top people in the country and their real estate businesses. How have you coached to mindset, and how do you keep such a powerful and positive mindset personally?
Well, I first of all, I think I have a distinct advantage. I have an advantage in this because I was raised by parents that were very experience-based. Experiences are more important than possessions, and I was it was modeled for me that in very difficult times, and we had some really difficult times. My dad had a medical practice, and back when managed care came about, three of the major insurance companies merged, named their providers, and his private medical practice lost 45% of its patient base, which is devastating. And but I've watched parents that at every turn in life have really proceeded with, well, what can we do now? What can we do? And so that's really drilled into me. And I believe that in business, under the best of circumstances, there are really tough days. Those of us that proceed with, okay, this has happened, or this is my circumstance. What can I do? There's always something to do. There's always an action to take. And so getting clear on what's the action to take, and then taking that action, doing it. What can I do? I'm not going to focus on what I can't do. I'm going to focus on what I can, I think, is the first step.
Right. And
I think there's a few other things, Joe, that are important. More important now than ever. You listen to me. You become very, very protective of who you allow to be a voice in your ear.
Okay.
I would say don't watch the news. If you're conservative, stay away from CNN and limit Fox. And if you're liberal, stay away from Fox and limit CNN. Don't, like, everybody right now. I think actually this whole thing has helped bring a kind of an overall return to humanity. Be very, very careful what you're allowing in. There was ever a time now to seek out great messages, read great books. It is now. And just jettison negative people. They can't be around you.
What's the one book you would recommend right now as far as that is concerned? I know you have a lot of books that you read.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, let me just reach to my right and tell you, this isn't, Gary will never know that I said this.
Right.
But I've always believed that when Gary and Jay wrote Shift, and Dave Jenks, when they wrote this book, it was for markets in a state of shift, but it was also for agents and business people in a state of shift. And that these steps are true, even if the strategies behind the steps have evolved or adjusted. The steps are eternal business truths. So step 1, get real and get right. Step 2, remargin your business. Step 3, do more with less, leverage. Those things are more true today than ever. I've got my nose in quite a few books right now.
Yeah.
But this is one that I would go back and read. And I would read it from the filter of you are a business owner in a state of shift.
Right. Okay. You're a business owner in a state of shift. Elaborate on that, Abe.
Yeah. So true that the global economy has, what's that word? Closed.
Yeah.
Stopped, slowed, whatever we want to say.
Yeah.
That's happened. But remember that there's always something for us to do. And so if we look at this from the standpoint of, well, everyone's going through it and it'll wake up when it wakes up for everyone. If we sit and wait and kind of point to the globalness of it, the overall general industry effect of it all, we're not going to act.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a critical error right now. But if we look at this as, all right, I'm a business owner and I find myself in a state of shift. I find myself in a time where my business and delivering my business and my client and my customer base are very affected by these circumstances. So what am I going to do? First of all, what does get real, get right mean for me?
Right.
How will I remargin my business? I start going through these steps in a very personal way.
Yeah.
It'll help me be better. It'll lead me to critical learning.
So Abe, you coach, I mean, you've coached thousands of people, right? You know, throughout your career, and you're coaching thousands of people.
Well, I would say I've completed over 10,000 coaching calls. I've
10,000.
taught and trained thousands.
So mastery. You have a black belt in coaching.
You know what's interesting about coaching, Joe? To me, coaching is like leadership. I feel like there, as soon as you think you've arrived, all of a sudden you're presented with someone that is a little further along, someone that's a little sharper, someone that requires you to get better. You have to run a little ahead.
Okay.
You know, you have to, and that's part of what I love about it, is that I don't think there's any set mastery level. I think there's no set it and forget it. There's always learning and evolution. And so I would say I'm an experienced learner as it comes to the art of coaching.
But you have a great track record, and we applaud you for that. So what kind of strategy are you talking to your coaching clients with right now? What's at the forefront of those conversations?
Well, I think that, so let me talk about kind of shoring up your, sealing the ship, as it were. And then I want to talk about, now that the ship is sealed, what we do. Can I do that? Can I do it in that order?
Yes.
So the first thing is that in times like this, consider this the moment we've all waited for, the moment when we've said, one day I'm really going to get in shape, and one day I'm really going to do this with my family, and one day I'm going to start waking up early, and one day, today's the day. I hit my camera a lot. Right. Today's the day. It is right now. This is a moment to develop the great habits. I think those that come out of this with the best habits win. And so I would say that, first of all, to protect your mind and your position, own your morning. Mm-hmm. Wake up early, wake up on purpose. I am not sleeping much these days.
You haven't slept much since I've known you, Abe, but
I know, but I actually I don't, it's not a good thing. And I've done a sleep study, and I have sleep apnea, and I had nose surgery, deviated septum surgery. I'm fighting it tooth and nail, and I'm committed to it, and I sleep with that stinking machine. But there's a lot of situational stress right now, and I wake up, and I have a team I care deeply about. I care about you guys. Sure. I have a community I'm a part of that is leaning heavily into each other. And so I've a spiritual leader I follow said, when you wake up, get up, but get up on your knees first. And I've always loved that, and I've adapted that a little in my life too. When you wake up, get up. Right. I'm not gonna lay there stressed. So I would say at the latest, be up at 5:30. But if you get up earlier than that, and my rule is, if I can't go back to sleep in 15 minutes, I'm up. Mm-hmm. I just get up and I just go to my wood shop. Yeah. I don't go write books. I don't go read the Constitution.
Right. Okay.
I go to my wood shop because it's a place that I can be creative and I can do some things, and there's no familial embezzlement of my time.
Okay. Got it.
But come 5:30, Joe, there's a morning routine that matters.
Yeah.
And that morning routine should include time working on your spirit, whatever that looks like to you. Not laying in bed, but if it's prayer time, if it's meditation time, if it's reading sacred books, I think that time should include some fitness. Yeah. More than ever, I think we need to have a plan for how we're going to manage our fitness. The stress we feel can be greatly assisted with physical activity. Right. I think we need to eat well and plan our meals. Yeah. And I think we need to get into our work early and deliberately. So I would say right now, while everyone's working from home, starting early and starting deliberate will give you an advantage. Mm-hmm. And then it's really important that we have clearly defined breaks, that we take those breaks and we honor them. Don't work through them. Don't make one call. And then I would say it's really critical. And this is all important for not only keeping your mind sharp, but
Yeah.
it's important for getting through this and not sacrificing the people that matter the very most to us.
Right.
So
Right.
at the end of the day, have an activity that you're going to do that when you power off, and watch this, I want to do this physically. When you power down for the day, it's not put the phone down and, oh, okay, well, that was tough. I mean, what do we want to do? What you're doing is you're saying, all right, I got to power down because I have an appointment with my family to do a thing.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's the seal of the ship. If you're not doing those things, do them now.
That's the first thing that's your first strategy, personal strategy that you should put in place.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah,
okay.
It's a well-documented, a well-known, control the morning, wake up on purpose, be deliberate. It's the time in the day that we, across the board, have the highest reserves of mental and emotional bandwidth. It's the time we'll be the most productive. That hasn't changed. Wake up on purpose, be purposeful.
So Abe, we have, our leader, right? And then your business partner at this point in time, Gary Keller, says, win the day by noon every day.
Yeah.
There's a strategy right there. I don't know if you said that for a long time, but I've just heard this recently. Actually Shoes had posted it a couple of times, John Schumacher, and that really kind of struck home to me. So with winning the morning, do you do all of your productive activities before noon every day as well? And what does that look like?
No, I don't.
No? That's
No,
fair.
but I do those that are the hardest for me.
Okay.
And the reason that I don't do all my productive activities is that the work I'm doing is very connected to the schedules of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, however, if I want to get to a writing session at 3:00 for a course with our director of coaching, Terry, with anything left in the tank, with anything to contribute, then for me, winning the day by noon means that I executed my morning rituals, that I've been disciplined in the morning, because if I have, then I still go into the second part of the day with energy.
Okay.
If I haven't, I'm of no value. And I don't mind telling you that I don't do this perfect all the time. That's
Right.
why often you'll hear me say, when I'm at my best, this is how I do it.
Right.
But the beauty of establishing a routine, Joe, is that you're gonna get off your routine. We all are.
Mm-hmm.
Those people that are like, I'm starting a fitness journey today and I'm never going backwards. I have news for you. You will. And, we just should establish right now that when you fall off the horse, that doesn't mean that you are now a failure in every aspect of life. What it does mean is that you know where your reset is.
Yeah.
If you started a routine and you're not doing it, let's just go back to that routine. We don't need to hang ourselves. Let's just go back to that routine.
Awesome.
So I look at the morning as that time where
we're losing you for a second, Abe. Hopefully we can get you back here in a minute. There you are.
you're losing me.
No, there you are. You look at the morning
Okay.
as that time.
Yeah. Now, look, as it relates to business,
Yeah.
I have a different business right now. But when I was in real estate, when I was coaching real estate, and for anyone here that's in real estate, I want to say this: win the morning means lead generation before noon. That's let's be very clear. It means wake up on purpose, get yourself ready, so that by the time you get on that first call, you're cocked and loaded and ready.
Right.
That means you do your morning role play, like all the things that we've said in the past to help you be an effective communicator. But there is a wonderful opportunity. Can I talk about the opportunity in the lead generation, Joe?
Yeah, please do.
All right. Right now, sales talk is repelling. I would encourage you, if you have automated scripts and they're sales in nature, and we would say under normal circumstances, do that. That's a benefit. Today, that's not what people are looking for. I remember when this all started a month ago. Can you believe it's only been a month? Doesn't feel like a day over 10 years.
Yeah, right.
When this all started, I did a call with Gary, and he was saying, Abe, this is a time to lead with heart. Head down, heart up. We've heard him say that.
Right.
Head down, heart up. So if anyone listening has been reticent to engage their database, I'm going to make your life better. stop it.
Yeah.
Call everyone and let the script be, hey, this is Joe Zimmerman with Keller Williams. And I'm calling because I want to see how are you doing and what could I do to serve you and your family today.
Yeah. That's a
Let
great
that be the script.
It's a great script right there, Abe. That's a great nugget. Hey, Meg Dady in our office asked, what's the daily work schedule you recommend for individual agents, small teams now that most people are at home?
Yeah.
So the daily work schedule, you're kind of touching on that now, but
yeah, I would wake up and I would in the one thing, there's the page that has the 10 circles that has, fitness and financial. It's got the areas of life. I would look at that. And again, I like to take care of myself physically, and I take care of myself emotionally by studying and reading and arming myself in the day. I think it's critical when you have a prospecting-based, service-based business that you continue to hone your skill and practice. And I would set a time to do that. And then the schedule in the morning before noon is you're going to call your database. Look, if you wanted a silver bullet, a new magic pill,
yeah,
doesn't exist. But we've been given a great gift in this business, and the gift is that the challenge that has been created for us in the world of artificial intelligence is that our database is being courted constantly by billion-dollar companies that use such sophisticated technology that they know when someone's thinking about buying new underwear.
Right.
We don't have that advantage. And one of the things that's occurred in all of this has been a return to contact.
Correct.
A return to contact. And when I call and say, hey, Joe, it's Abe over at Keller Williams. I'm calling today for the purpose of asking you, how's your family? How are you doing? And what can I do to serve you today?
Yeah. It's a great script.
I want to give you two more parts of that script. The dismount is important. Joe, no one's more important to me than the people who are important to you. I have a mission today to be a solution for the challenges of 10 people. Who in your life could you introduce me to that I could offer to be a solution for them?
All right. The dismount is powerful, my man.
Yep. And then I just want to share one more. The other is realtors. This is a great time to tell the story of others. If you tell your story, no one's going to hear you. I'm a realtor. I do this. No one's going to hear that. But if I say, hey, today I want to tell you about this local bakery that I've been a fan of theirs since this is what they're doing. Here's how they're giving. When I tell their story, everyone hears their story and mine.
Right. Right.
So how we talk to our database today determines who they'll listen to in 90 days. All right, Joe.
Thank you, Abe. That's very powerful. Abe, I know from being coached by you, which was very profound for me for a long time, that you are systems, that you follow systems, right? There's agents on this call right now. What systems are you coaching to, and what systems are you paying attention to right now?
Well, when we say systems, we should break that down a little bit because it's such a it's a broad term that could, and there's a lot of people that hear that and just shut down. Well, I'm not a systems. I'm not a detail person. Like we jump to these massive conclusions, right?
Right.
And I think we just talked about a system. I think we just talked about anything that you want to do on an ongoing basis that requires more than 2 steps. If you do that thing the same, that's a system. So when you go in to brush your teeth, you floss your teeth, brush your teeth, toothbrush goes there, floss goes in the drawer. System. That's a system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that I'm a believer that this morning lead generation routine, that's a system. It's critical that we track it. And I think that's probably, Joe, what you're referencing is I'm really into how we track what we do.
Correct.
And how we adjust what we're doing based on conversion rates and based on what we're experiencing.
Yep.
So we have a coaching scorecard that we use. It's a simple spreadsheet, something that you experienced with me,
Absolutely.
where we're looking at what is your goal?
Mm-hmm.
What are the daily actions to achieve it? And we're going to follow that.
Mm-hmm.
So every call, if I'm coaching you, every call, we're going to look at your key metrics. We're going to ask what worked better than you thought it would.
Yeah.
Where did we fall short, and what adjustments will we make to get on top of that?
And Abe, be fair with us here. Like, what should we be comparing this to right now, given what we're going through? Do we look at, obviously we can look at, hey, what was last March compared to this March, or what was April, or what was compared? And when you see those numbers, you get a little bit deflated, right?
There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's only one thing to compare this to. What is your goal? What do you want to do? There's no historic data for where we are today.
Right.
So when I said be a solution for 10 people in the course of a day, I would track that. I would have a list, and I would call. You're gonna have to talk to 60 or 70 people in a day to find someone that you can say, all right, for them, I'm gonna have a roll of toilet paper delivered, and from them, I'm gonna do a video and endorse their restaurant, and for them, I'm gonna go through their finances with them for an hour. Like, this is work.
Right.
To do what we're talking about is going to take some time, but there's no comparative. What I would say is, whatever your plan was before, now there's an increase in the communication portion of that plan.
Mm-hmm.
An increase. If before you were making 20 contacts a day, today it's 40 contacts. Right. People are just more open.
Yeah.
People are just more open. And I think that I really do. I think it comes down to daily conversations with an offer to assist.
So that would be your recommendation, is that's the metric, right?
That's the metric. You set your goal, then you go make that goal true.
Right.
I'm going to talk to this many people, and you go and do it.
Yeah. And that's your scorecard moving forward until this is done.
Yeah. You're still going to be able to track things.
Yeah.
People are still going to sell, Joe. And we're seeing it. Austin, for example, I don't live in Austin, but I was talking to a friend there, and Austin, things change daily, but Austin's real estate sales numbers were still up, but they were starting to see people reduce price by 20 and 25%. Your market is full of people whose finances have not been interrupted.
Right.
Employers that are continuing to pay, and there's high security.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was in the market for a home, is this a good time?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
If I have the resources,
yes.
We like to say real estate is on sale. It's more on sale today. If I'm a seller and I'm thinking, I can't get enough for my home, so I probably don't want to sell right now because I'm going to have to sell at a discount, then the question that I would be asking me is, are you going to buy?
Right.
If you're moving up, then though you may get less for your home, it is also true of the person you're purchasing from. So there's going to be a lot of real estate sold here. We shouldn't pretend like none of that's going to happen.
Right.
But something magic happens when I say, Joe, what can I do for you today?
Mm-hmm.
It feels unnatural for you to say, oh, is there anything I can do for you?
Right.
That feels unnatural. And I don't think it's inappropriate to say, well, I'm also a small business. So it'd mean a lot to me when you hear of people that have real estate needs, no one will take care of them today like I will.
Yeah. Or, yeah, exactly. No one will take care of us, or just be a resource for, or, answer any questions for as well. So the topic of this, Abe, was accountability in times of uncertainty. And I know you personally, and you are the king of accountability, right? You held me accountable for a couple of years, and, you are known for accountability. So all that have been coached by you. So let's talk about that right now. What's the importance of it, and what does it look like right now in your world?
So first of all, I don't think any of us are great at being self-accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So for anyone listening that's thinking, I hold myself accountable, no, you don't. You do until something feels more painful. And then we all find very socially acceptable reasons to not do the thing that we were going to be held to. And so I would say that accountability must be partnered. We have to partner in that. And we have to partner with someone that is unwilling. Once we've made the commitment, that person has to be unwilling to let us out of it. Now, I'll give you just a couple things to consider around accountability. If it is always level 10, DEFCON 30, really painful, if it's that every day, you create emotional fatigue and it loses its change power. If every day, Joe, I say, all right, okay, here's the goal for tomorrow. So we're going to, write a check for $5,000 to the person you hate. You're going to have to send it to them. And if it's that every day, then what that tells me is we don't have a plan that propels you to execute it. And so sometimes that's required. Those things are required. But I would say that there's two kinds of accountability. The punitive kind, which, by the way, is often the most effective. So there's what we have to do or what we have to give, and there's what we get. What do we get when I do this? What do we get? So I would say that 50% knowing is 50% of the work. Being clear on who you're going to call, what time you're going to start, how you're going to warm up, what you're going to say, when you're going to report back, that alone will do 50% of the heavy lifting for people. So the rest of it is knowing that you've got a conversation to return and report, and that the person you're returning and reporting to is unwilling to let you use excuses.
Yeah. Abe, John Schumacher's asking, why did you choose to go into coaching?
I had a coach for many years. I had different coaches. My first coach, I bet most of you have never heard of him.
Yeah.
He's not on any billboards, but he changed my life. And that's what's so beautiful about coaching is it's a personal relationship. I remember Shoes, I used to go to, I'd go to all the conventions, and I'm a sucker for the vendor hall.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there were more than once that what's that?
You know how to work the room though, too, to be fair.
Well, I mean, there were many times I would find a thing and think it's this.
Right.
And I would pay and buy the service, and a year later I would cancel the card, having never used it. But I remember I was at a mega camp, and I was actually very frustrated because I was in the audience. No one knew who I was. Maybe my office maybe knew, but I was watching the people on stage, and I remember I was frustrated thinking, I have that in me. I could do that. And I left because the frustration was more than the inspiration. And I went into the vendor hall, and I walked by the MAPS coaching booth, and I said, tell me about coaching. And I signed up for a coach. By the way, it was in 2008.
Yeah, that's important.
I couldn't afford it. I had maybe 1 month.
Right.
But when I did it, I remember I left. I walked out of the Austin Convention Center, and I remember thinking, I have done something important for me.
Mm-hmm.
I hired a person to meet me every week and to help and to be my partner to work through all this.
Right.
And I called and told my wife, and she was the one that was very hesitant for those expenses. But this was one where she was like, that just feels good. So after many, many years of being coached, I think those of us that really have those life-changing coaching seasons, it feels natural to want to then become the one that wants to do this and help others and coach. And that's how it worked for me.
What would be, hey, Pete Krasnowski, I'm going to get to your question next, but I want to ask this, Abe, since we're on this topic. We're being told to cut expenses right now, or I've been on the fence of getting a coach forever. I personally can speak to the power of being a coach, having you in my life and people like Gene Rivers. But what would you say to the people right now that are trying to cut expenses and are going to cut their coach, or are on the fence about bringing a coach on into their lives? Like, you're very real, you're very integrous, you're very honest. What's your honest advice on that?
Well, my honest advice is to, first of all, don't cut your coach. Double the intensity. What?
Why is that?
Double the intensity of that conversation. Here's why, Joe. Most simply stated, Going through business alone under the best of circumstances is hard. Going through this season alone, I can't even imagine it. And coaching companies are doing more than they've ever done before. You know, so I think that MAPS Real Estate Coaching is they've reduced all their fees for a season. They're offering all kinds of free things. I know for us, for businesses, we don't coach realtors, we coach businesses, and we started a 1-800 hotline service for any business that wanted to call in, and we're staffing it with our coaches, whether they're clients or not, because we have something to offer and we have something to share, and the world needs us to do that right now, whether we're making money for it or not. There's a need that we can fulfill. We reduced all of our client coaching fees, some people from $3,000 down to $500 per month for the next number of months, because we're all in this together.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all in this together. So if you're thinking now's the time, you just don't know how to do it, I would seek a conversation with a coach to go through it. I think, and I can speak for the two companies that I have the most experience, which is MAPS Real Estate Coaching, and of course, MAPS Business Coaching. There's an evaluation process you go through with your coach. And if you cannot afford it today, there's a solution, there's an option for you. But no, none of us are going to sign up a person that is going to not feed their family tomorrow,
right,
to get into coaching today. So I would say if you're doing this alone or you're wondering, reach out and seek a conversation. Contact MAPS Real Estate if you're in real estate, and have that dialogue. See what options are available. There's incredible options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you've seen the power of coaching because you are a coach, right? And you've seen people.
Yeah. And I have a coach.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do this alone right now.
Right.
I went into business with my business hero.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
Gary asked me, he asked me early on, what will keep you up at night? And my answer, I didn't have to think much about it. I mean, I joked with him a little, and he's not a big jokester, but I joked with him a little and said, well, you asking me that question.
Yeah.
Then I said, well, I'm moving from the person who coached others to do it to the one now doing it.
Right.
And putting people together to do it. It's a very different world.
Yeah.
And I've known that. And so I would not do this without a coach. And Gary and I he does a lot of coaching in me, but I need the person that I can meet weekly to work through the details and to talk about Gary if I need that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The person to help me through all the stuff I'm working on.
Yeah.
I am no different.
That's awesome. You have one coach right now, Abe?
No, I have two.
I was going to say, that doesn't sound like you, Abe, but okay,
yeah.
You got two.
I have two. To be fair, my fitness coach, we're not doing much right now.
Right.
And this is a great reminder. This is a great reminder to me to kind of re-engage that dialogue.
Okay. All right. Pete Kersnowski here on the chat room said, hey, I've been making the how can I help you script calls. And the answer is usually something like, I'm not looking to move right now and don't know anyone that is. People know that I'm in real estate and seem to think that that's the only thing I can do to help. How do I shift that so they don't think the only reason I'm calling is because of real estate?
This is such a good question.
Great question.
Great question. I'll give you a couple little nuggets of gold, Pete. And here's the good news. You don't need to be perfectly polished to do this. This isn't like the bold script, right? And by the way, I mean, I'm not poo-pooing on bold scripts. I mean, they changed our industry. It's not that. Right now, you don't have to be perfectly polished. There's a lot of grace in the world. So you can say, I would say what you just said. I would say it. Hey, Joe, most people know that I sell real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm calling, most people will assume that's why I'm calling. Today, that's not why I'm calling. I want to know what I can do to help you. And it might be that you need help finding a store that actually has toilet paper for your family, or you guys need help getting a meal, or you have a family member that needs assistance. In the middle of all of this, I see this as an opportunity to reach out and serve people, whether or not it's real estate related. So here's the great secret. Pete, when in doubt, tell them. Just say it. Most people think I'm just calling about real estate. I'm not. I want to know, what are your needs? How can I help you?
Right. That's awesome. Abe, I know you're a very active person and you went over a lot of the things that you do. How are you? You're a family man, right? And I think that's
Yeah.
important for everyone to know. You know, I follow you on Facebook and see you guys are doing theme nights and stuff like that, and you guys are
Yeah.
very comical. But how are you keeping your family sane right now as the leader of is you and your as a co-leader of your family?
Yeah. Medical marijuana. No, I'm sorry. That was terrible.
That's
My filter died yesterday at like 3:30, so forgive me.
right.
Um, we stumbled onto something. My 18-year-old daughter, listen, make no mistake, this has been I have felt a lot of stress in all of this, and I've had a lot of emotions. I'm so proud of our team. So from the work side of this, there were 2 weeks that were just so heavy as we were making decisions. But my sweet daughter, so I tell you that because I want everyone to understand that the thing I'm going to share with you, I'm not driving it. In fact, there are plenty of days I'm like, I don't want to do that. She sees us through, and I'm always so grateful. So my daughter had this idea that, hey, every night that we're quarantined together, let's do a different theme. And and we have done that. Last night was the 13th theme, and it's hashtag COVID dinner theme.
Okay.
And I share that with you because steal this. I don't know if she came up with the idea. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Do whatever theme you want. This isn't an Abe thing, or I can't copy the Shreves. Look, we copy great people all the time. I'm not saying we're great, but I mean, we copy. In other words, do something like this with your family. So what happens is every night there's a different theme. We decide the theme the night before, and our family dresses up and takes a photo. And then we have dinner, and when possible, we correlate the dinner to the theme.
Right.
So we did a Greek night, and we had Greek pizza, and we watched My Big Fat Greek Wedding. We did goth night,
Awesome.
and made the huge mistake of showing our family Edward Scissorhands.
Oh God.
Terrible movie.
Boys, I don't
But
love.
here's the thing. I want to show you visually what this has done for us. Most of us on this call, work can be our drug of choice. Isn't that true?
Yes.
And nothing ignites that work addiction like a great crisis. Socially acceptable to always be, they need me. I always got to do this. I learned with my kids, they're waiting for me. They're at home. I'm an engaged father, and I want to be an engaged father, and they're at home. And I learned that when I say, hey, I just have to make 2 more calls and then I'm all yours. That sounds like something I'd say to them. Then I'm all yours. I get done with the 2 calls and then I put this, what does all yours even mean? All yours for what? Typically I'm wiped out. Okay, what do you guys, I need a minute. You got to give me a minute. So this dinner theme thing we've been doing has given us a perfect moment in the day that we close the door to the world, and
Mhm.
we just go into our family and we get ready. And I'm shocked at how many dress ups we've been able to put together.
Yeah, I know.
We've done 70s, 80s, Greek, goth, but last night was the one that has meant the most for us.
You want to know what I'm shocked at?
What?
Your breakdance moves, bro. I
That's
mean,
pretty
those were
rad,
hot.
wasn't it?
Those were hot.
Still did helicopter. I couldn't walk for 4 days after that. You should know. That's the after story. Can I tell you about last night?
Yeah, please.
I know we're at time. Can we go a couple minutes more?
Yeah, sure.
So I have a senior. Some
Yeah.
of you have seniors.
Right.
And I think in the great order of things, their sacrifice, if we could call it like that, is minor in the grand scheme. You know, they're missing their prom and they're missing their senior year, and it's very sad. But I think none of them would say that's as sad as someone dying from cancer or dying from corona. However, it doesn't mean that this to them isn't so sad. And I've watched this beautiful daughter I have who's just a sunbeam in the world. This is really hard for her. So last night was prom, and we all dressed up. I put on a suit. I hate suits. And the girls put on their prom dresses, and my wife wore her prom dress from her senior year that she wore 30 years ago this week. Way to go, Teresa.
Yeah.
I could not wear what I wore to prom.
Yeah,
that
right.
would not happen. But here's why I'm sharing this. We did that, and we did pictures, and it was fun. And family pictures, to me, I've always felt like it's God's way of getting back at us for the dumb things we do. You know, they're just miserable doing family pictures. But we did all these pictures, and then we're sitting down to dinner, and I look over, and Maddie just has, oh, I'm gonna get emotional. Maddie just has tears running down her face. I'm sorry. And she just says, thank you to all of us as a family. Thank you for doing this for us, for me. Thank you. You know, so if we come out of this and we are not closer to those that we live with, we're not closer. We haven't really, if we don't feel as much as we all want to get back to a regular life, if we come out of this and we don't feel a state of mourning for all of the concentrated time together, we missed it.
Yeah.
There's collateral beauty in this moment. There's collateral beauty. And I believe part of it is we get to become the person that our family believes we can be.
You are a gift, Abe Shreve.
Wow.
We've always thought that of you. Thank you very much for pouring into us today. We appreciate you greatly.
Well, I am honored and grateful. This does a lot for me, Joe, personally. Good. When you give me a chance like this, it does a lot for me and my spirit. So thank you.
Abe, it's the least I could do for what you've done in my life. So thank you very much. Guys, Abe Shreve, thank him. Abe, if people want to follow you or reach out to you, where can they do that to?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that you can do. mymapscoach.com. Here's what you could do if you'd like to help us out. We've been helping, if you will text, if you're interested in receiving 369 great coaching questions.
Okay.
Would you guys be interested in getting that sent to you?
Yeah.
Text my coach, all capitals, to, I hope I get this right, 33777. 33777. And also, if you're working on family budget and you want a budget template, it's a simple template, you can coach budget, all capitals, budget, to 33777. And if you have business, we all have business owners, and I would say, please put us in touch.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, my maps coach referral /referral is a great way to get to us. Send it to me directly if you'd like, any one of our team. We have a really awesome set of questions and an evaluation to go through with a business owner to determine where their struggle is and what they can do now. And we go line by line through their money with them. And coaches live to serve, and I have amazing coaches here. And the gift you could give to me that I could give to them is to allow them to serve. And they're all sacrificing to do it. And you know, we're leading with our heart. Yeah. And the more opportunity that we have to do that, the better.
We know we will, Abe. I'm going to do my best to support you in any way I can because I know what kind of a person you are. So thank you guys very much. Thanks everybody for being here today. Again, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Abe Shreve, awesome job. Tomorrow, Kelly Price is going to give us, from Wintrust Mortgage, is going to give us the State of the Union from the lending world. So tune in for tomorrow at noon. I will have the link up in a couple hours. Love you guys. Stay safe. Abe.
Thank you, Joe.
Much love.